Hello guys, welcome again. My name is KaalBron and you're watching my journey through the second week of Team Kreve League Season 4. If you haven't watched my first video, well, maybe you don't know, I won my first round and now it's the second round. And I'm playing against a Spanish player, Tocacu. He plays for Team Manticora. Actually played him in my last tournament as well, in the Jewel of Dogs of Team Bendgag. In that game I managed to win. It was the quarterfinals, managed to win 3-1. So here. And I'm just hoping that I'll be able to win again. So my decklist wise, I haven't actually changed much. My SK and my Syndicate are completely the same, no changes whatsoever. And my double cross, well, 3 changes, not very, not huge ones, though now I'm playing the Imperial Diviner. I think the Purifies are really important in this matchup, so I managed to fit that in instead of the Assassination, and I'm playing 2 Imperial Diplomacies. I actually have no clue why I haven't played that before instead of the Tortoises, so I think this version is actually much better, simply because of Imperial Diplomacies, but also because of the Imperial Diviner, which can be pretty clutch. So yeah, that's for my decklist. If you want to see more me talking about these two, you can just watch the last video. So on to the decklist of my opponent. So his first decklist is Nilfgaard Hypertin with Madoc. So I'm not particularly afraid of this. I'm just not a fan of Hypertin, especially not now. I don't know. Probably he knows something that I don't. Especially don't like the Madoc version. I mean, against some decks it could be good. I don't think it's great against mine. I guess he can control my engines a little bit, but Madoc alone is not big enough to control, I mean, not impactful enough to control everything. Though he does have Velveforts and Heatwave and Marigold, so he can do a lot of damage in a long round, so naturally you just want to win round 1 if possible against this deck. Not sure on which coin he'll like to play this deck. I'm guessing on blue coin, since he really wants to win round 1, and if he's on red, he might not be able to win. I mean, I guess maybe he doesn't want to commit Sunset Wanderers, so maybe he just plays this on red. I don't know, I actually haven't played Hypertin in a long time, so I'm really not sure what to expect coin-wise. But still, not afraid of this deck. On to his second deck, the deck that I'll ban because I just don't like playing against Jackpot. It has too many points. He even plays the Caesar, so you have to control that as well. He doesn't play the Devotion version, so he plays the Kree and Heatwave instead of the Bank and Horson. So it's even worse for me for my Battle Trance, so I'm definitely not letting this one through. So I'll just stop talking about it, since yeah, I'm not going to play against this deck. His third deck is Vampires and Cave Troll She Who Knows version with the Operator and Witch's Sabbath. So if this deck gets out of control, it can be very, very dangerous. luckily for me, all three of my decks actually have some ways of dealing with this. I guess my weakest option is the Battle Trance, but a very clutch card that I actually run against vampires is this Grammis, because I can purify not 1 unit, not 2, not 3, like infinite number of units. So I think if he plays the Defender, and if he plays the Chief Who Knows, and all his, you know, Leathers round 1, and then Witch's Sabbats, I think I'll just play Grammis round 2. I hope that I'll draw Grammis. I think that's very important, so I can purify his Cave Troll, and after that I can just purify shit around me. He has almost no control. 1 natural selection, that's pretty much it. So my Grammis should just stay very safe. So I'm looking forward to that. In terms of my other matchups against this deck, my Syndicate is kinda awkward because I don't actually have that much control with Syndicate. I could get smurfed really hard. My Syndicate could lose against this. And that's why I think my Syndicate will not actually get banned. I think he'll ban my Nilfgaard because Assimilate is pretty good against both vampires and against Hypertin, because I can just copy everything he plays with vampires, and so he really doesn't have much of a chance. I think, especially if I mean, it actually doesn't matter. Even if I play it on blue or red, I have 2 toll removals, I have so much pressure, so much stuff to copy from him. And he also, if he plays the Operator, he gives me an engine as well, so that's pretty bad for him. I'm really certain that he'll ban my Double Cross. He'll be shooting himself in the foot if he doesn't ban this list. So I'm thinking I'll be playing my Jackpot and my Battle Trance. So I hope I manage to queue vampires into my Blood Trance. I mean, Jackpot is not terrible, but I can't contest round 1. I'll maybe have to be a little bit cheeky. Usually you want to play Jackpot on blue, because you just want to get these Casino Bouncers out, the Sewer Raiders out, the Boat out. But obviously if he plays Vampires, he could really push me hard round 1, and I just want to defend the Bleed round 2 as best as possible. So yeah, I think the matchup Jackpot into Vampires is pretty tough. Can be very tricky. Though I do have some pretty good cards. Obviously the Freak Show is great. I also play the Kurt, the Morils, the Philippa, the Horson, so I have options, but you need to draw that, and it's not that easy if you have only 2 cards. You know, if you only draw the Kurt and the Freak Show, it's not that great. Or if you draw the Freak Show and the Philippa, also not that great. So yeah, pretty tough. But still, I'm definitely banning Jackpot anyway. I'm not like afraid of this deck, but I'm worried. Just a little bit. The She Who Knows is also pretty annoying. Like you want to eliminate all his threats, and he plays She Who Knows. That will most definitely stay on board. Almost certainly. Unless he doesn't ban my Nilfgaard, because then I just copy his He Who Knows a couple times, maybe even. So yeah, he just has to ban Assimilate. There's no no way he doesn't ban it. And I think all three of my decks actually are pretty good against Tactical Decision. Like, I can have enough points around 1 with Syndicate to win it. I have enough points with Nilfgaard on either coin to pressure him a lot. Though, as I said, I'm probably not playing Nilfgaard because he'll ban it. And I can also push him real hard with my SK deck. So, in last match I targeted my opponent's Nilfgaard list. I mean, targeted. I thought that his Nilfgaard list was weak, and I predicted that I'll win both my games against it, and that was correct. I also predict the same outcome for this game, so I predict the same outcome as well, 2-1 for me. Obviously, it could get tricky. Maybe I get some very bad draws, something goes horribly wrong. But I feel like I should definitely win against this Tactical Decision list. I was actually thinking that he'll bring a Siege list. Because he plays the Siege Commandos list a lot. He played it in the last tournament. He also played it in week 1. I mean, he didn't play it exactly because he got 2-0 straight win because his opponent was a no-show. But still, I was hoping he'd bring that because I have answers for that. So this Vampires list is much tougher. Much tougher. If it wasn't the Witch's Sabbath She Who Knows list, it would be much easier, but yeah. Especially the She Who Knows. Like, the She Who Knows is so tricky. I guess he'll play it on blue, since he has the Cursed Scroll, right? He really wants to draw this. He's actually pretty greedy. He only plays... No, I guess he plays both Decree and Double Cross. That is very interesting. So he's really wants to get his She Who Knows. That's like his win condition. His win condition is, though, also drawing the Witch's Sabbath. And he actually just has to draw it. So I think that's what the Cursed Scroll is for. He just needs the Witch's Sabbath. In that Siege Commandos list, he also played the Cursed Scroll, and he was also a bit greedy, which is why I was certain that he wanted to play the deck on blue, and which is why I was certain that that I could beat that deck. Also, one thing to note about my Battletrans. His Vampires are also kinda awkward against my Totem, not only against my Gramis, so maybe he'll be tempted to ban this list. That would be really cool, since he doesn't play Heatwave in this. But he's definitely not banning my Syndicate. My Syndicate list is by far the weakest. Against both of the decks that I'm not going to ban, actually. So if he bans my Syndicate, he's a bit blind at what's happening at the ladder, right? It would be even worse if he played the Ichquarquax in this deck. Then I just have to ban, because in that case I just need to draw the King of Beggars or the Artol Bratons. Like, that's pretty bad. But yeah, anyway, those are my thoughts for this week. I'm playing early in the morning tomorrow, so that's why I decided to record this now in the evening. So yeah, wish me luck. Hopefully this was some interesting insight, and hopefully this time I'll actually get to record the games and show you some highlights. So see you after the match. Hopefully I win. Bye. Hey guys, it's me after the match, and as you can see, I've managed to record my games, so that's great. I'm actually not going to tell you how the games have gone, since I can just show you step by step how it had gone down. So let's start at the beginning. So, as I said, I banned his syndicate, and to my very great surprise, he banned my syndicate. So yeah, I was really not expecting that. I even in the earlier part of the video I called that a pretty big mistake. I actually talked to him after the match. We had a pretty interesting discussion, and I no longer feel that way. I think my syndicate actually doesn't have that bad of a match against both his decks, so I actually understand why he was worried. So yeah, still it would have been tricky, especially against vampires, if I didn't draw my answers for him. So at the end of the day, I'm still pretty glad he banned Syndicate. He, beat the bait, as to say, because it's perceived on the ladder as the strongest deck, even though I don't think it's actually true anymore. It was definitely true last season. But anyway, so first matchup I was on red with my Nilfgaard against his vampires on blue, just as I thought he would play it, since he runs this scroll to get his Sabbath, since he can't guarantee drawing it any other way, since he doesn't run or Necromancy. So yeah, that's what I thought would happen, even though I wasn't 100% sure, naturally. And yes, I did, since I had Nilfgaard, obviously I'll play Nilfgaard on red. So I muted the audio because audio is not important. So as you can see, my hand for round 1 isn't that great. Like, I'd like Brattens here, or Vigo, or another Blightmaker, or a Purify. A Purify would have been great, but no Purify, unfortunately. And naturally, his first play was the Defender. So I had to invocate that. There was no other way. I mean, if I had the Purify in hand and the Invo, I wouldn't play the Purify here. I'd just concede a round and play the Purify round 2, and then keep the Invo for round 2. But that's not how it happened, so I just had to play the Invo right now, so I can play the Defender myself, actually. After a few plays, I played the Defender, so with the Witch's Sabbath, the Defender comes back to me instead of him, which I think is a great move. And you'll see, it will be very, very important in round 2. Unfortunately for me, he has his She Who Knows, and I have no answers for it. He also played the Unseen Elder here, no answers in this round for it. So I had to pass. Not this move, I still played the Blightmaker, but after that I had to pass. Though if he passed here, in this very moment, I might have been in trouble, because I have no clue what I'd play here. I think I just lose the game entirely, but I had to gamble a little bit. I was pretty sure he wasn't going to pass here, because I mean, I could have had a play that kills him. So yeah, I pass here because I can't play anything more. And round 2 comes, and my hand is still not great. I managed to draw the Purify, but the Purify is not great anymore. I don't really need the Purify anymore. So he plays the Witch's Sabbath. I get 2 very good cards in Defender, and my Weld unit, great. I had to obviously get rid of his Unseen Elder, because that's just 3 billion points in a longer round, so couldn't let that stay on the board. So as you can see, my hand is still not very good. I miss Brattens. I missed Roderick. I'm missing a lot of my golds. I don't have a good Artois target. My Artois target is basically a Fledder. Well, it will be a good target, but it's not a good target right now. So yeah, let's jump a little bit further. Maybe that's a bit too much. Yes, I had to play the Fledder, played my leader into one of his Necrots, and the Necrots are actually better for me than for him in a Nilfgaard matchup, because I can just copy his Necrots over and over again and have my own Vampire engines, so, you know, Nilfgaard. So I did that, absolutely did that. Unfortunately for me, he had 2 copies of Blood, this card. I have no clue what it's called. It wasn't very popular before Vampire Fledder was a thing. So yeah, I was kind of struggling with points here a lot. He still decided to push more, even though I have... But I mean, obviously, he has this in hand. That's 18 points plus 2 or 3. That's an insane plane just like that. I also didn't have a great illusionist here because my front row is full. So, as you can see, I'm lacking quite a few points here. And, you know, I can very easily lose, just get too old here. But his last card is Natural Selection, and I have a chance now because I can purify some of my bleeding. That was actually the wrong play. I should have played Shelmar first. I missed 1 point here. But never mind. Actually, the tourney Shelmar came in clutch. I managed to get out of the round with just 1 point. That was very, very satisfying. It was very close. Even though I didn't drop the Bratans, which is like crucial in this matchup, I somehow managed to get out. And he still has She Who Knows. Look at what I've missed. Holy shit, this hand is not great. Not great at all. This Bribery is also not great. Though not awful either, because this Incubus is actually not that bad for me. I actually think I made a mistake here, because then I resurrected the Necrot, and I could have resurrected my own Incubus. Or no, I didn't have the Incubus. No, I thought to this. This is what I wanted to resurrect, but I didn't. So I got the Necrot out, and he answered my Necrot actually with the Drowner. But even though I missed Brazens and stuff like that, I had this great play. I can just place his She Who Knows, and he resigns. So he didn't actually draw his Regis, which means I win. So this was a really, really tough matchup. I thought Nilfgaard would do much better here, but obviously it probably does do better when you draw better. But when I draw this badly, but he also drew pretty badly, like he didn't draw Regis. He also had that shit for damage card. So yeah, a very, very interesting game. This was pretty tough for me. But yeah, the Shelmar works. Like, in monster matchups, I think the Shelmar is actually insane value. Like, he's incredible. In monsters matchups and in Nilfgaard matchups, because in Nilfgaard matchups it's a 4 base power unit with deal 7 damage, which is great, 11 points. But it's even better in monster matchups. In some other matchups, not that phenomenal. It can be good in SK, but yeah, I just really like the card at 6p. I think it's pretty balanced and pretty flavorful. So yeah, second match, I still have my SK left against his Hypertin. So yeah, I thought he can play the vampires on red, and it kind of makes sense. So my hand round 1, actually pretty good. I was pretty happy with this hand. Draw the Darren, draw the Berna with both skirmishers. Great stuff, absolutely phenomenal. So, you know, I had quite a lot of points. And I thought he was going to pass, that he wouldn't manage to keep up. Because look at all these points. I even thought to just play the truffle here. But I didn't, because, I don't know. I was thinking about protecting this from his banish bomb. But he didn't draw it, and I was banking on that, so a bit of luck for me. So next he plays this Dodric, which is scary because his Wanderers never come out. So I try to push him a bit more because I'm not happy with the things he committed so far, and I still have a pretty big point lead. So next he plays one of his best moves. I mean, his most powerful move. He plays the Snowdrop and he plays the Leader to get ahead. Which I thought was a pretty good move, because I think with this deck you have to win round 1 and then bleed him, which didn't happen. And he also forced out my Heatwave, because you can't not play the Heatwave here. He has this 12-point unit and he gets 2 points a turn with Dodric. So just awful for me. And he couldn't get ahead in his next turn, so I passed because I just don't have the hand to play further here. So round 2 comes, and I still don't have a very good hand, as you can see. This is really not ideal. I don't have Totem, I don't have Morkvarg, I don't have the scenario. I actually don't want the scenario actually here, because if he bleeds me dry, I really don't want to play my scenario. But, you know, I would have liked to draw these other golds. Didn't happen, obviously. I was in this position, I was thinking a lot what I'd play, because none of these cards are actually great. I could have played the Dream Veandra, but then my Wanderers come out sooner, and I don't want that. So in the end I played the Preacher, and he actually didn't answer my Preacher. I thought he was just going to answer it with a bomb. He didn't, which I was pretty happy about, because in that case I can stall a bit more with his Wanderers come out. So I can stall a bit more with my own decoction. One other play here was this Dwin Veandra activating the Truffle and then playing this Wanderers, but I decided not to do that because I thought he was going to push further here, but he was just happy to see my Wanderers out. So I think actually that was a mistake by me. But then again, maybe it wasn't, because I actually didn't have a good hand anyway, so if he decided to push me further here, maybe I would just lose. So maybe this was actually big brain. You know, not 100% sure what was correct here. But yeah, he was pretty happy to see my Wanderers out. I draw the Gird, which is in this stage of the game is not very good. You want to play the Gird round 1. And this is my round 3 hand. So I managed to draw everything, which is good. So round 3 draws, pretty good. I decided to wait with my getting it because there was really no hurry. I wanted first to play my discard and my totem and my guards. Really didn't want to... I mean, he has a lot of answers, but he has to play them. And you can see that he still has 4 cards in his hand, which is pretty not ideal for him. So here you'll see he plays maybe it looks like a weird move, but he doesn't have much choice here because he can't actually, like, he has Heatwave in hand, he has Deadman's Tongue in hand, he can't play those 2 cards, he has obviously his Artesius, which he plays now. He has his Triss and he has his Yen. Like, there are no good options here. So he has to play this, which, I mean, he loses a lot of points with this. But I said, like, that's fine by me. I'll just play my totem here. So next card he plays is the Deadman's Tongue. Right? Yep. So he does that. I play the guard next. And he plays Triss to kill the guard. And one other card he has in his hand that I haven't mentioned that he also can play is the Fur card. Now, you don't want to play the Fur card because you'll overtin. He overtinned. I mean, he didn't yet, but he kinda will soonish. So now I can play my Geddinus. And I waited a long time to play it, and he can't actually Heatwave. I mean, he can, but he breaks his Fur card that way. So maybe that was the right play. We discussed that after game. But he plays his Divination. So he actually... he doesn't answer my Geddinus, which is great for me. So, you know, he thinks that answering one of my Preachers is enough. Which obviously it isn't. But at least this way he doesn't break his Fur card. So a lot of tough decisions for him in this game. Obviously, I realize now that he doesn't have a bomb. I mean, other than the fact that he doesn't have... I mean, he boosted his Madoc. He also... Like, what will he even do with this bomb? I know his last cards. So, in the end, he plays with his Fur card. He draws the Golem. So, his 2 last cards are the Golem and the Vilgefortz. And I'm looking pretty confident here. I still have my leader. I still have another Geddinus. Just roll, and I also have a very good card in my hand, and I have the Grimace in my deck, so this card is not that great. He probably should have just Vilgefortz this right away, and because my Grimace was my last unit, I believe, so he could have gotten a few more points with that. But sure, in the end I win 2-0. Didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be 2-1. I thought that he'll manage to win a game with his vampires, but you know, I guess I got the good coin, which is good. Which is good. I got the right coin, I guess. So I just won 2-0 instead of 2-1. So very, very interesting games. Very interesting matchups. I mean, as I thought, his Hyper team was going to be pretty bad. And it was. I just don't like the Hyper team. I think the vampires are quite tricky to play against, and as you could have seen, I've just barely won against it, but the Hyper team was just bad against my lists. So yeah, that's it for this video, I think. As you can see, 2-0, not all matches played just yet. For now I'm 7th with 2-0, so I'm in a good spot after 2 rounds, but obviously just 2 rounds, it doesn't mean anything at all. But let's continue well towards the 3rd round, and hopefully we'll win again. For now, I'm just going to farm more on ladder. Maybe I change one of my decks, maybe not. For now, I don't think I will, because I don't know, I just like the decks, but who knows, maybe I'll bring monsters. I could bring monsters. I don't think I'll be bringing Scoia'tael or Northern Realms. I don't. The Northern Realms, like, I think this season the alumni are actually pretty good, but I just don't like the deck. And if I don't like the deck, I'm not great with the deck, and I learned that I just shouldn't play the decks that I don't like, because I won't play them to their full potential. And I think that is one of my strengths, that I can play a deck in a tournament environment to its full potential, like very few misplays, if any. So yeah, if I like the deck, I'll play it really well, and if I don't like the deck, I'll just get very depressed if my threats get answers. So that's why I'm not going to bring alumni, even though I think it's a very good deck. So yeah, that's all for this video. Thanks for the first support, and I'll see you next week. Bye!